All right, in this video, I want to talk about how if you're given an equation in point slope form, how sometimes it might be easier to change it to slope intercept form and then graph, but other times like this, you may want to just keep it in point slope form and graph right from point slope form. Because if I wanted to put this in slope intercept form, I'd have to distribute this fraction. And sometimes distributing a fraction can get annoying, and then I'd have to add the 2 on the other side, and I'd be getting mixed numbers, and sometimes that's difficult to put on a graph. However, if I know my point slope form, what I can do is I can plug in for my y1, my x1, and my m, and I can look at what are in those positions right now. Now, the easy one to start out with is I can see 3 over 2 is in the position where m is. So I know my slope is 3 over 2. That's going to be important. Now, what I can also see is right now in the y1 position, because it's usually y minus y1, I have y minus 2. So y1 is 2. So I know my y coordinate is going to be 2. Now the x in this position is a little bit trickier, because you might say in the x1 position is a 1, but you also have to pay attention and say this was minus x1, and now this is plus x1. So you have to think, how did that minus turn into a plus sign? So originally, if this was minus 1, you know the minus minus turns into an addition sign. So this actually is x minus negative 1, and which would make my x1 negative 1. And now, so I have the point, or I have a point that my line goes through. I have the slope, and I can go ahead and graph this over here. I'm going to start out with the point that I know. I'm going to start out with negative 1, 2, which is right there. Now from there, I'm just drawing on the rest of my points using my slope. Slope of 3 over 2 means I'm going to rise up 3 and run 2 to right there. Rise up 3, run 2. Once you run out of room, if you want to reverse your slope, rather than going rise 3 and right 2, rise 3, right 2, I can go down 3, left 2, down 3, left 2, and I can just keep going. Let me get another tool here. Once I connect all these points, I should get a line that sort of looks like this with an arrow at both ends. Whoops. Looks like that. So again, I'm looking at what numbers are in these positions for the y1, the x1, and the m. So I'm trying to figure out, looking at my current equation, I'm saying, what is my slope and what is the point that this line goes through? I started out by graphing the first point, negative 1, 2, right here. And then I drew the rest of the slope by rising 3 and running 2.